well, I knew that I wasn't doing well, but I also wasn't as bad as I got in the later months. Hello everybody, Leia here, and I am literally sitting in the exact same spot, wearing the exact same stuff. This is the same cup of water, because I am filming this video at the exact same time that I filmed my last eating disorder video, literally during the same break period. And I've got, she says, looking down at her non-existent watch, I've got 30 minutes to record this video, which should be plenty of time. Even so, if you saw the last eating disorder video, you know that I recorded this video and then deleted it. And even in that recording, I didn't go 30 minutes. And I saw when I re-recorded the last video that I was a lot more concise and I knew more of what I wanted to say. So hopefully that's what happens in this video. And if not, I'm very sorry, boss. Don't worry, I will be back on the clock before 4 o'clock. So, where last we left off, I had just graduated high school, and I joined University of St. Mary, and one thing with St. Mary is that they don't have an on-campus gym. Well, they kind of do, but it's only for students that live in one specific dorm. So for all students, both on campus and off campus, and I was an off-campus student because I still lived at home because St. Mary's in my own hometown, we were all able to use the gym. At the time it was called Genesis. I think it's still called Genesis. This was actually, fun fact, the same gym that I had joined when I was 10. But this time, and actually even the same type of membership, because St. Mary employees got free membership, and then my parents paid for me to also have a membership so I could go with my mom. I started working out a couple of times, and I think actually I have a photo of me in the gym, like, right after I started college, and if so, I'll put that photo in now. And, you know, things were pretty normal for the fall semester. I did, like, normal live from home and commute to school every day freshman things. I tried to participate just as much as the on-campus students did, so I was still getting the experience, and so I was still at school most of the day, and then I would go home at night. And that worked really well until my second semester. Because I graduated high school a semester early, I also started college a semester early, so I was technically a sophomore during the second semester of my freshman year. So I'm going to start using those metrics to make it less complicated. So the first semester of my sophomore year, which would have been the spring semester 2016, I got my first job, and I really started to struggle. I was in a lot of pain. My coworkers treated me very badly because of my disability, and I was told that I wasn't working hard enough, all these types of things, and I don't think that it necessarily was binge eating disorder at that time. But I do know that I gained a lot of weight. So I ended up gaining weight, and I ended up quitting that job because of discrimination. And a few months later, I got another job working for the school district as a before and after school daycare teacher. Actually, I was just a before school daycare teacher at this time. Later, I became an after school daycare teacher. So things were okay. For about another year, I had gained some weight. Actually, I had gained about the standard freshman 30, not freshman 15 anymore, now it's freshman 30. I had gained about that standard freshman 30 between the beginning of my freshman year and the end of my sophomore year. But at the end of my sophomore year, something very important happened, and that was that I got my first campaign job. If you don't know, I was a political science major in school, but I made a specific choice to leave politics, and I don't regret it. I had a brief stint back in politics, and it reminded me why I don't want to be in politics. But around that time, I started to feel very uncomfortable with my body again. I remember flying to Washington, D.C. to meet with this very famous radio show host that I listened to all the time, and you weren't allowed to take pictures with him, or you weren't supposed to be allowed to. However, the fact was that I had flown literally across the country to meet this guy, and so he told the people, like, hey, let her take the picture with her camera because she came all this way out here. And I thought that I was so smiley and happy, but then when I got the photo, I felt extremely ashamed, and I'm going to insert the photo right here. So, you may say that I look beautiful, but the reality is, I do look like a hot mess. Like, it's okay to admit that my hair is really messy, and that's just because of the simple fact that I had not slept the night before because I was too excited, and I had been on a plane for 4 hours, and then I came to DC and waited in line for another 3 hours. I was dead tired, and that's okay. But I also looked at that photo, and I felt like I looked like a circle. Like just a big, round blob. And, a few days earlier, or actually no, I think it was the day before, I had gone to an event with my political boss, and we took a photo with his friend, who was also at the time my friend, who was like this big politician. This is very important. And so I hated the way I looked in that photo. I felt so self-conscious in that photo, and I just really did not enjoy that photo. And so when I got home, I started feeling like I maybe wanted to lose weight. And so I just decided, I told my mom, I said, I'm going to lose weight, but I'm going to go talk to Jerry. She was my doctor at the time. And I told her I was going to lose weight, and she was very happy that I was ready to lose weight. She recommended a diabetic diet, which, if you don't know, not the diabetic diet that we kind of use now, because now I think the diabetic diet tends to encourage, 45 to 60 carbs in a meal, but at that time it was 30, 15, 30, 15, 30. Although I didn't do the snacks, so it was 30, 30, 30 with carbs. And so all I did was count carbs, but I did this thing where instead of replacing carbs with, non-carby foods, with cheese, with nuts and seeds, peanut butter, food that you should replace it with, I just still had the carbs, I just had less of them. And I started to lose weight very quickly. Like, I remember, and it started out pretty obsessive from the beginning, so, I remember that, I think like 5 or 6, it was either a few days before I started the weight loss journey, or a few days after I started the weight loss journey. Sorry about that, my phone died. So, right about this, it was either a few days before I went, or a few days after. I think it was a few days before. I was supposed to be helping with our, the freshman intake. And so I was asked to watch over the donut wall, which, yes, we had this literal giant ping pong, little tack board. I'll put a picture in right here. So it was my job to watch over this donut wall and make sure that it was stocked with donuts. And I remember that I was the only person that would not touch the donuts. I did not want a donut because I was going to lose weight, and not even working the donut wall was going to stop me. So that happened, and I started on my diet Like I said, from the beginning, it was very obsessive. I was using Calorie King. I didn't know about Chronometer at that time, which honestly was probably a good thing. And I was using Calorie King to track my calories. I didn't really care about, actually, I didn't even care about calories. It was specifically to track carbs. I didn't really care about fat or protein. And I certainly did not care about macro and micro minerals and minerals and vitamins. I really didn't care about those. And so I remember it became obsessive from basically the very beginning that I would still go out. I would still eat out with my mom. Actually, I felt more comfortable eating out because when I ate out, I knew exactly what I was getting. I knew that I was getting one McDonald's hamburger with no bun, which is still actually, even though I am vegetarian, sometimes when my blood sugar is really high, I will use that as a trick to lower my blood sugar. And around this time, I had gone on to a medicine for my knees and also a medication for depression. And between those two things and eating, I stopped being in pain. And so I credited losing weight to not being in pain instead of the fact that I was on pain medicine and, in all likelihood, in a manic episode. Which, for me, when I'm in a manic episode, I don't feel pain. So for a while, I knew that I wasn't doing well, but I also wasn't as bad as I got in the later months. I eventually did start going to the gym. Originally it was just swimming, and then at some point I added dancing, and then at some point I switched the dancing for doing cardio and also weight training. And this is when it started to get very obsessive. This is when it started to get very disordered. This was I would listen to the Psych the Musical soundtrack, and I would run on the treadmill, not run, but, fast walk on the treadmill according to the song, and I would change the speed based on who was singing, and there was this whole rule about how I did it for each song. But that wasn't necessarily the problematic part. I think that was kind of the fun, autism part of my brain that needs everything to be fun. The problematic part was that when I would do weight training, I would listen to fat shaming videos. Now, back before I started on this specific part of the atypical anorexia, I had, listened to the person that made these videos, but I wouldn't watch these videos because I knew that they were too upsetting for me. But pretty soon, I started listening to the videos while I would work out, and I would say, if you don't like that he's saying this, that means that you need to change. If you feel like this is a personal attack on you, it's because you're too fat. And I did get down. I lost quite a bit of weight, but it came at a cost of, honestly, my mind. I started trying to pick a fight with the politician, so my boss's friend. Now, my boss did win his election. That was cool. I picked a fight with him and ruined a friendship. And I unintentionally picked a fight with the politician's wife and ruined that friendship as well. And I thought that everything was going well, but, the day that friendship ended was also the day that I went to get a new swimsuit, which was supposed to be a big celebration of the fact that I had lost so much weight that my swimsuit no longer fit and I had to get a new swimsuit. But instead, it was just a constant reminder, and even for up until I accidentally lost that swimsuit we'll talk about that. Up until I accidentally lost that swimsuit, I really, anytime that I even touched it, it would remind me of this argument. And I tried to keep everything together. I tried to hold myself together, and it just didn't work, and I kind of spiraled from there. I did end up getting a political job with someone who was literally not quite, someone who was not quite the arch nemesis of my former friend, and then eventually the arch nemesis of my former friend, worked for both of them. And I will say that it's hard to say that you regret something that was such a big part of your life, because campaigning literally took over my life in 2018. But, I do regret that I was working against someone that was such a good friend. And I do regret that I was never able to like explain to them, because I didn't even understand this myself until, 2020. We'll get to that. I didn't understand that I was having these problematic behaviors. I just thought that I was losing weight. I didn't realize that I was intentionally picking fights with people. I just thought that I was doing what I believed in, and it was hard. But I started to make friends with these enemies of my former friends because I thought that I aligned with their values and their beliefs. Maybe it was a little bit of wanting to be included and feel like I belonged as well, because for about, there was a few months where I was like, yes, I agree with these people politically, even though they don't like my friend, and I felt like I was being torn apart. And so I regret the choices that I made. I think that I made the wrong choices. I know that I did, but it's very hard to know how to apologize, or even if it's the right time to apologize, because apologies don't fix things. It doesn't change what I did. And even if I say, like, yeah, by the way, I was in the middle of an anorexic eating disorder and you guys didn't know it because I hid it very well, because I never ate in front of you, and when I did eat in front of you, I was like normal. I wasn't restricting when I was in front of other people. And I don't remember if I started binging when I came out of this specific eating disorder. I know that I did not gain any weight. I would show you pictures from this time, but they are the cursed pictures that I've all deleted. Sorry guys. But I felt extremely depressed, and I was trying to blame my friends. And in fact, the Taylor Swift Reputation album came out that year, and I like sang every one of those songs about how she was wronged, and thinking that my politician friend had wronged me, when that really wasn't the case. I was the one that had done something wrong. And like, I didn't gain any weight after I did this, and the main reason why I don't think I gained any weight is because I was still in politics, and I was doing a lot of walking in the hot Kansas sun. I had also started giving campus tours by this time, so again, a lot of walking in the Kansas sun, doing things, that were very physically active, because I didn't feel pain because I was manic. And, most of my friends lost their elections. One did win, and I ended up, I had to make a decision about college, about what I was doing after college. And so I ended up interviewing for, and then accepting the job at the Hawkeye, and I packed up all my stuff over the course of like 4 weeks, and with lots of help from all of my political friends, I moved from Kansas to Iowa, 5 hours away, to start my new life. And that is where I'm going to end this video, guys. Oh geez, I was right. I did record in a lot less time. But that's where I'm going to end this video, and I'm going to pick up the next video with what happened after I moved out, and my first true binging episode. So, alright, take care guys. Bye.